Association, the Association of Vermont Credit Union annual meeting. And Dr. Mary Kelly was one of our featured speakers, and she became the rock star of the meeting. So we came home from that, and Soma and I had a conversation saying, let's get Mary to do our annual meeting. And we agreed. And as part of the discussion, we said, wouldn't it be fun if you reconnected with our team and did a little leadership workshop the day before? And Mary said, that's fantastic. So we were thrilled. We jumped at it. We have some great content. A lot of this builds and supplements things that many of us heard last year, but you didn't need to attend it to kind of, get the takeaways from today. So I'm thrilled. Dr. Mary Kelly is here. I'm not going to take any more of her time.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom. Thank you. Hey. Hello, online people. So, folks, we get to have a lot of fun today. We get to talk about some of the best things ever, which is leadership challenges, conflict, change, crises, and everything that your members are facing, as well as some of the things that you are facing as well. Now, along the way, I'm going to throw in some economic data because I think it's good for you and because it's things that your members sometimes expect you to know. Also, if you have any economic questions, feel free to fire them at me. And I mean, just raise your hand and be like, even if this is a squirrel out of the blue, or you're thinking about, well, what do I do with my own retirement? What do I do with my stuff? Just raise your hand, holler at me. We will interrupt today's programming and address whatever's in your head, because we need to have the things that are most important to you are what is most important to me in terms of making this valuable for you. I will also be around for a little bit afterwards. We're going to have a tech check over at the Delta Hotel about 6 o'clock tonight. And y'all are welcome, because after that, we're going to be in the bar. Well, I'm going to be in the bar. I may be the only person in the bar, except it won't be, because the bartender is there. So that counts. Anyway, but also if you've ever got any questions, my email is on everything that I'm going to give you today. It's in the vault you're going to get. It's in all the books. It's in everything. Feel free to just reach out and go, hey, Mary, it's Jim. I got a question on this, that, whatever. If I don't have an answer, I'll either find it. That's the old Navy thing. I'll find out, or I'll make something up that might sound plausible, but I'll tell you if it's made up, or I will let you know that I just don't know. All right. So any questions before we get started? Boom. I need to let you know I've been a happy credit union member since 1983. Woo! And just to make sure I wasn't lying to you today, I went back to all my siblings. I go, we're all credit union people, right? And they go, yeah, why would we be anything else? Right. And the answer is it's because. Now, some of your friends, and we were just talking before this started, one of the best things to ever happen to the credit union world, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Sorry if you're recording this and you're married to somebody who's a VP there. So sorry about that. Not sorry. Because trust in the B words has gone down. It's gone up. Trust in credit unions. And your members, whether they know it or not, really are putting more of their faith, more energy, and more of their trust in you and the people who serve them. So you've got to be great, and you're already great. So how do you stay great, and how do you go from great to maybe even 1% better of great? So today I've got a couple tools for you. This is new from what we did last year. So grab your camera, grab your phone, so you can scan this. This is my personal flow code. This is and some of you are going, scanning, is this safe? Nothing is safe, people, nothing is safe, but go ahead and scan this. This is how you get hold of me. The first sentence might make some of you laugh. It may not be amusing for some of you as well. If you are in sales, if you are trying to connect with other people, you have your phone with you?
I didn't bring it with me.
Do you want to go get it?
No, it's okay.
You're a young person without a phone.
I left it in my car.
I love her. I love her so much. You're my favorite. What's your name?
My name's Kate.
Paige, I love you. Oh my gosh, she left her phone in the car, brings a tear to my eye. Oh my goodness. I just had a moment there. You're my favorite. Okay, so don't worry, you're going to get all the slides, you're going to get all the information and all the things. Folks, what we are about for this year, I don't know if you've noticed, but there are a few words that you might want to remember when it comes time to what people want from you. First off, they want you to care about the things they care about. They want you to creatively problem solve for the problems they have and what they care about. And they want you to be confident in what it is you are telling them. People want to work with confident people. Nobody wants to go up to a teller and go, is my money going to be safe? And they go, Maybe, the world's uncertain. I'm not really sure. No, nobody wants that. Not only that, but people don't want to work for people who are not confident. Now, there's a difference. Nobody wants to work for somebody whose confidence has morphed into arrogance. If you are confident to the point of arrogance, now you're just say the word. I need to say it. No, yeah. Marines know all the bad words. All right, so you morph into something else. On a recorded line. So this is what people need from us. So if you are doubting your response to somebody, ask yourself, am I responding in a caring fashion? Am I thinking creatively about the issues they care about? Am I thinking of all the possibilities to solve this problem? And am I answering them with a degree of confidence that embodies our organization? How did I do, Bob? Was that kind of what you're looking for?
Perfect.
Okay, right. Okay, great. We're recording this, so feel free to use this again. All right, beautiful. So there's that. So how do we lead ourselves and our members and our teams through crisis, challenge, and change? We're not finished with crises, challenges, and changes. And when I say through, it's like a screw going through a piece of wood. You got to keep putting pressure to have forward motion. You got to keep moving forward. And a lot of people really struggle with this because they say, oh, good, the crisis is over. Oh, we can take a deep breath. No, you can't. There's going to be another crisis right after it. For those of you who are maybe my generation and older, did you ever think when you were in school, when I was in school, I used to be thinking, okay, I got a paper due, got a test due, I got this, it's going to be a late night Thursday, late night Friday. Yeah, oh my gosh. And then I thought, well, if I can just get through the week. I said that a lot as a student, and now I say it a lot as an adult. If I can just get through this week, if we can just get through this audit, if we can just get through this period, if we can just get through this quarter. I never thought I'd be saying it that much as an adult. But this is what we have. So the better we're able to cope with crises, challenges, and changes, the better we're able to respond in the right possible way. Now, sometimes, folks, your members come in and they're kind of like patients in a hospital. They're oftentimes coming into you, and we got to remember one thing. When you come here to work, you're not scared to come to work because it's your job. But you have to remember, for a lot of people who grew up where finances were never discussed, money was always tight, showing up at a bank or a credit union makes them nervous. Like their heart rate increases, their hands get sweaty. They're afraid of the people on the other side of that terminal. They're actually afraid because they don't understand everything that's going on. So a lot of times we don't remember when people come in for a loan, we're pretty confident they're going to get this loan. This isn't really an issue, but they're not sure. There's a lot of trepidation. There's a lot of concern. So part of us being that caring leader is understanding that what we know is not what other people understand as well. Does that make sense? Doctors and nurses sometimes do the same thing. Like they walk in and go, okay, we got your blood test back. And you're like, there was a blood test? What happened when I was unconscious? And there's that trepidation. So I remember I was in the military, and they were going to call me with test results. I'm in the military. Now at this point, I'm about a 41-year-old commander in the Navy. And so the woman calls up and says, hi, Commander Kelly, your blood tests are back. Call me for your pregnancy results. I was 41. I was like, I didn't even know we were testing for that. That ship sailed. I thought, that was a terrifying moment. I call back and go, you better be telling me what I think I already know. That ship sailed. I'm just saying, there's that moment where even though I was pretty sure there was no way, there's still that little moment. So again, be that caring leader, be that person. And as we get through this, we need to be doing this together. So a few things, not all of you were able to be at our really great event last year, and it was so much fun. So much fun. So just a few things. I used to run marathons, and somehow they got longer. 26.2. No, they seem lots longer now. I did get to go to the Naval Academy. Has anybody ever been down to the Naval Academy or the Coast Guard Academy? It's right over here. Yeah, have you toured it? Did you?
Yeah, I went to the Naval Academy.
You did?
Yeah.
What year are you?
I graduated from UVM in 2014.
From where?
He toured me.
Oh, you toured it.
Didn't go to it.
Oh, okay. So you've toured it. Okay, great. And what about the Coast Guard Academy? You got the Merchant Marine Academy up here too. West Point, our fun little Army school. On the Hudson, you know, anybody been to the Air Force Academy out in Colorado? Okay, well, they're all exactly the same. So you're understanding. Okay, I get to be an economist. I love being an economist because I woke up at 4 o'clock this morning. I knew I was going to talk to you, so I get to look at economic data for about 6 hours, and it's the most delicious thing ever. So again, I love doing that. It makes me happy. And I got to meet my Marine Corps husband when we were both doing the same counterterrorism work. Oh. So sweet. Now I get to kind of write books and wander around and talk to people. So a few things. How do world events affect us? How do they, and then on a very micro level, us, our family, our communities, our kids, our schools, our churches, synagogues, our work, our state, our nation, our world. How do world events work downward from there? And how do they affect our members? And how do they affect how we respond to people? Because we've had this overlay of stress for the past few years, if you haven't noticed. And before that, we were stressed enough as it was. We had full lives. And all of a sudden you get this overlay where you get to now homeschool, and then you get to work from home. Then you got to worry about dialing in, and you people who are dialing in, you're thinking, oh, my camera's not working, and all those things. And maybe you were me, where you get up to a store, you're like, park the car, you get up to the store, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, I have a face. That's wrong. Back to the car. And then you're digging around the back of the car looking for a mask. And then you dig, and there's nothing in the front seat. You look in the glove, no mask. You're digging through the purse, no mask. And then you're crawling around the back of the floor if you're me. And it's always right after it snows. So it's been muddy feet and snow and wet on the floor. And then there's Cheerios and the dog prints have been there. And finally you get this little crumpled mass of paper. And it's wet and it's sticky. And you put it on your face. Because that's going to protect you from germs. I'm like, why don't I just lick the sidewalk on the way in? So we've had this overlay of stress. And now people are worrying, are we going to have a recession? Well, that depends on your definition of a recession. How many of you think we were in a recession last year? We were. First and second quarters, we had negative GDP, 2 successive quarters of negative GDP in a row. A succession makes. The fact that the government didn't want to call it a succession doesn't mean a recession, doesn't mean it's not a recession. It's a duck. It looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it swims like a duck. It's a duck. But then, you know what we did? We said, whoa, we're the government. Whoa, we can't have this. Oh, the recession's a bad word. It makes people panic. So what the government did third quarter was they spent a ton of money. Our GDP, our C plus I plus G plus exports minus our imports. If you increase the government expenditures, you know what it does? It increases your GDP. And then the other thing we did is we devalued the dollar, so we had more exports. So those two little things, and our net exports usually don't count by very much, but if you combine that with our government expenditures, that pushed us into positive territory for GDP, boom, out of a recession. And people wonder why after 35 years of federal service, I don't trust the government. I don't trust the Department of Treasury, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, the CDC. They just sent something to me and said, watch out for malaria. I'm like, really? Really? That's our big problem. I don't trust anybody. I have deep trust issues. So yeah, we had a recession last year. We bounced out of it, but it wasn't organic and it wasn't natural. So are we going to have one this year? Yeah. Is it going to be soft? Yeah. We're going to pull out of it. Things are going to be better by next fall. But this year, between now and then, it's going to be a little rocky. So what should we know and do? Well, we've got to see what's happening. And it's one of my favorite slides because most people just see what they see. They see the things that affect their lives. They don't see what's actually underneath the whole thing. And it's like seeing just the tip of the iceberg. Now, who here has actually been on a cruise, like a pleasure cruise, not like a Navy cruise? It's just silly. Okay, so did you know that last June, Norwegian cruise liner bashed into an iceberg? It seems like they didn't see the movie. I don't even know. We have to see what's going to happen. We have to take the right action, and that's why we're all here today. So I've got some resources for you. We're just going to do this in classroom style. You're going to grab one of these and pass it around. And I know I talk really quickly, but you're smart people and you can listen fast. The average person can listen 20 times faster than the average person speaks. So just keep that in mind that if I'm going a little faster, you're like, what? I can repeat anything at pretty much a moment's notice. Here's what I do. I do one of these every single day, folks, and this keeps me focused and productive. Because every single day I make a list and I will put down Wednesday, I will put down 19 April, I will put down the calls I need to make the follow-up I have to do, all my to-dos, my appointments, my top things. I'm supposed to put down the accomplishments. I'm really bad at that part. But this way, I keep things straight. Now, this is also something you're going to get downloadable. Where are my OCD friends? OCD, yes, the OCD people, woo! This is downloadable. You can fill it in, and then when you do the thing and you click the check mark on the computer, it gives you a check. My OCD people love this. This is like the greatest thing ever. So as you're thinking about things to do, I encourage you to get these things out of your head and map them here. Because folks, as we look at your value as a credit union, and without, I mean, you've got your values, creativity, confidence, caring. Then we've got our value, what we're providing to other people. And first off, and I love this because it just never changes. It's always the people. We start always with the people. I know I got one Marine. Any other military folks here? Okay, so this is my hat tip to the Army. This is people, it's armed. How do you attract, recruit and retain, mentor, manage, evolve and develop your current and next generation of leaders, your employees, your people, but also your members? A lot of people in the financial world don't understand that we, your members, need to be led. Give you a great example, happened last week. I met my credit union. I'm part of Glenn Streeb's it's Air Academy in Colorado Springs. He's a great guy. He's also an Academy grad. And I was depositing a check and the teller says, hey, I noticed you've got kind of a chunk of money in savings. You know, our CD rates just went up. And I said, yeah, I've been kind of watching them, but not paying such close attention. She goes, it's over 5%. I go, well, how many months? And she goes, 12. I'm like, what? I go, let's just roll some of that stuff in there. That's beautiful. See, she led me. Now, I watch these things, and she led me to make a good decision. See, we need that from you. We want you to lead us. And so this is the people side. In most corporations, the people side, all the things that go into the people equation, represent 64% of all corporate costs. In the airline world, it's 30%, 35%. Oil or gasoline is between 20 and 30% if you're running an airline. But it's a substantial amount. And wouldn't it be great to make sure that our people are operating on peak performance as well? And then technology and tools. Do we have the right innovation, the right advancements? Are we providing the right resources? Are we helping people? Are we up to date with what our members need and want from us? And are we communicating that? In the future, do you think you're going to have more AI? Sure. Right. Who's in marketing here? Anybody in marketing? Nobody's in marketing? We should have some on the phone. Hi, marketing person. So marketing people, I'm talking to you. Go ahead and answer in the chat because Mary's monitoring this. Hey, do y'all use ChatGPT for marketing copy? If you go, yeah, and if Bob knew, we wouldn't have a job. Go ahead and answer me. In the future, do you think we're going to see alternative payments? How many of you use Bitcoin right now to go buy Dunkin' Donuts?
Not yet, she said.
Not yet. Okay, so if she needs help, have her call me. How many of you use Bitcoin to go buy your Dunkin' Donuts? Not yet. Do you think it's coming? It's about a year ago. I think cryptocurrency is stupid. You know what I like? Cash. Yeah. I like cash a lot. And the more I see companies, so what worries me now is that whole conglomeration between Brazil, Russia, India, China, and Saudi Arabia coming together to do this cryptocurrency thingamajigger that they're doing makes me very, very nervous. And so every time I see this new thing on cryptocurrency, I was like, I'm just taking cash. I'm just using cash left and right. I think cash needs to make a comeback. I like cash. Now, about a year ago, I was talking to both Charles Payne and Damon John. We were all at the same conference. It was a good day for me. And they both were talking about cryptocurrency. And this was about a year ago. So you know what I did? I was stupid. I went and bought some. That was stupid. You know what it doesn't that? Now, I don't know if there's a place for it, and I think it's stupid, but just because I, in my generation brain, think it's stupid, doesn't mean it's not going to exist in the future. I'm going to have to know about it. I'm going to have to manage it, even if I don't like it. I like artificial intelligence. I also like robots. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm at the little Hyatt. And there's this little R2-D2 thing. It's got this little tray. It goes, please help yourself to a muffin. I'm like, so what went through my head is, if the robot is serving the muffin, does that mean there's calories in it? Because for some reason, if the robot is served, and then I take the muffin, you know what I say? Thank you to the robot. I'm like, you're an idiot, Mary. All right. So we've got to be manage the uncertainty when we see it. Where are my dog people? Dog people, all my dog people. Okay. This, and you people who aren't here, if your dog is on your lap, good, that's the right place. What kind of dog?
Golden.
Airedale.
Lab.
Hound. Mixes. What do you got? Black lab.
Newfoundland and English Mastiff.
Wow, you have the couch and the sofa version. Look at you. That's why you were gray.
Yes.
That's nice. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay.
Couple of months.
Couple of months. Oh, the babies. I love the babies. Oh, what do you got?
I'm a mutt, but I'm a basset hound lover.
Oh, I'll find you a basset hound if you want one. What do you got?
No dogs.
No dogs. Do you want one? I'll find you a dog. I'll bring you a
No.
dog.
Not a dog.
I can find you a dog between now and tomorrow.
3 kids is enough, no dog.
Okay, all right. Dogs.
Yeah, big old basset.
Ooh, baby. What do you got? Okay. If, where are my cat people? Yeah, I'm waiting for you. No, nothing.
We got
nothing
a
at all.
golden and 2 Rotties out here.
Oh, I loved a ratty dog. By the way, if you have a golden retriever and you think that dog is protecting your house, you're wrong. Okay.
Well, she has a mutt.
Yeah,
so maybe it's
there's no protecting in the house.
They'll find a ball anywhere.
Say what?
They'll find a ball anywhere.
Look, you're here to rob the house. Would you just throw the ball? Throw the ball, throw the ball, throw the, like the lab, just throw the ball. But when there's a storm coming through and the thunder crashes and the lightning flashes, and you know Carrie Underwood's gonna sing about it. Where does your dog want to be? With you, on you, in you. Like the Mastiff and the Newfie have to be on you in that moment. They're like, Mom. And what they expect from you is pat, head, hold paw, reassure them, manage the uncertainty. Folks, we're in for another year of economic challenges and a roller coaster. Last year, the average retirement fund, it came out yesterday from Fidelity, and we knew this was the case, but the average retirement fund lost 23%. You think people aren't worried about their finances? They are. And they need reassurances from you the same way your dog, your children, assuming they're under the age of 30, want to be reassured on the couch when the lightning is crashing. Pat, head, hold paw. Okay, not your children, maybe. This may be a bad idea. All right. But reassure them. They need you to manage their uncertainty. There's a lot of stuff out there that threatens them. You manage the uncertainty with your confident leadership, your caring leadership, with you making sure, again, you're creatively looking at the best solutions for them. And then we've got to grow. We have to strategize. We have to look for opportunities, even when other people are saying it's going to be a rough year. There's always opportunities. Because right now, for the last couple of years, I kept saying interest rates have to go up because you know what? People weren't putting money into their savings accounts because your savings rate was pretty terrible. We needed interest rates to go up. Now, do we need them up this far? It's going to settle down in a bit, but how many of you remember the 80s buying a home with a mortgage of 18% and 21%? And now people freak out because it went from 6.25% to 6.4% this morning. People are like, oh my gosh, the world is ending. And we're like, really? Let me tell you about 21%. So again, a lot of this is perspective. It is a lot of what people know. And we have to find the opportunities and walk through what people need from us. And this is where your value is. Because folks, we only have a couple hours this afternoon. For me, that is not that much time to talk about all the crises going on in the world. I taxonomize things. So I look at the geopolitical side. You're familiar with all this. Naughtiness. Yeah, there's a lot of naughty going on. Okay. And then on the economic side, I'm going to touch very briefly on a few of these things. And then on the workplace side, we're going to focus on some of these things, very tactical things you can use on a day-to-day basis that I think might be helpful for you. And then on the domestic side, I no longer work on the domestic side so much. I did have a stint for a while as a chief of police. And so I did some law enforcement work as well. And I was an HR director for about 3,000 people from Oklahoma to the Middle East. So I got to do that. And I worked with some sort of domestic things. I had to manage healthcare plans and I had to manage, I actually had schools on some of my military bases that I had to manage in terms of education. And then of course I had law enforcement. So we're mostly going to focus just kind of in the center here, but there's plenty of crises. And you know what's missing here? Your personal crises. Because you know what, if something happens in your life and it's a personal crisis, your kid gets really sick. If your kid had 103 fever last night, you're not here today. And if you're caring for an aging parent and they had a bad night, you're not fully focused, even though you're trying to zoom in from home and you're trying, but you're not fully focused. If there's a personal crisis going on in your life, maybe your marriage is in trouble. Maybe your dog is super sick. Maybe your cat did something bad that cats do. What do cats do that's bad? I'm not good with cat examples. But if that's a personal crisis, then you're not focused on any of these things, and you're not fully focused on work stuff. So we've had all this, and I don't even want to say the name. I call this the virus that should not be named, because I'm tired of giving it all the power it's somehow engendered over the past few years. And we know that right now, if you are worried about nothing else, folks, with your credit union systems, be worried about cybersecurity. The hacking attempts have gone up by over 400 times. You are being attacked every single day, whether you catch it or not. You are being attacked. And Lloyd's of London came out about, I guess it was August or September, and they came out and said, because they're a big insurance company, that they insure a lot of people for cybersecurity, and they came out and announced, and it made the papers. In the IT world, it created a buzz, but nobody else was paying attention. I was like, people, this is huge. Lloyd's of London comes out and says, well, if your cyber attack, your ransomware happens, and it is funded or influenced by a nation state, that's very vague, and they determine it, not you, they don't have to pay. They don't have to pay. And all the IT people went, wow, we suddenly have no hammock. We have really no insurance. So if you get attacked, it's just on you, because other insurers followed suit very quickly. If Lloyd's did it, we can all do it. So if nothing else worries you about the cyber world, this should worry you. And then, of course, supply chain problems. How many of you got to work from home for at least part of the time the last couple of years? Good. How many of you decided you really hate your house and you needed some renovations? You had to change some things around. Yeah. So some things had to change. So some people did some small things like, oh, a new bedspread or new drapes. Other people just ripped out their kitchen. And the reason, and the reason you can't find a refrigerator, because it is sitting on one of these cruise ships, one of these merchant ships off the coast of Los Angeles. 40% of everything that comes into the United States comes in through the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. And all of these ships are doing donuts in the water, waiting for their turn in port. Now, they've kind of gotten this under control. It's not so bad right now, but here's why. This was China. Whoops, this is China. All the little yellow dots, China. Now, they've just started opening up about a month ago. But last June, they shut down 74 cities. 74 cities. And you think, well, how bad is that? Well, let me tell you, that impacted 330 million people. There's only 333 million in the entire United States. They shut these cities down because they did not want there to be an outbreak of COVID heading into Party Congress in October. So a lot of things weren't moving. And part of the reason for this is shipping costs had gotten stupid. Our ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, which are kind of a combined port, had mandated that truckers, now a certain percentage of them had to be EV, and then they had to have specific licensing in California. So a lot of those truckers just went, we're just not doing it. And they went to the other coast. The second biggest port, New York. New York, right here. The third, Savannah, Georgia. The fourth, Charleston, South Carolina. Hot on the heels. They are chasing Savannah and they are chasing them hard. So there's more stuff now coming in on the Atlantic side, but that was made more difficult because Russia invaded Ukraine. And then that took shipping elements out of parts of Europe. There's still places where there are no-fly issues over parts of Europe because they can't get those routes. Michael Larry, who's the CEO of Ryanair, was interviewed this morning, and he says it's still a big problem affecting predominantly France and Germany and Spain because they still can't fly in a lot of areas that is airspace of Europe because of the Russian problem. So this is all a very big issue. Supply chain problems are not fixed. Now, they will start to get better, especially as we get into summer. So your refrigerator will be found somewhere, hopefully. Now, we've also got this little inflation problem some of you may have noticed. What have you noticed mostly has gone up?
Eggs.
Eggs, 49%. Good. What else? What else? Milk. Yes, dairy prices have gone up by 35%. If you can find them. Yeah, over Christmas in my little small town of Monument, Colorado, we had 3 weeks where you couldn't buy eggs in a 50-mile radius. And so we're calling it the new form of an Easter egg hunt. You know,
Yeah. Potatoes.
Like you're like, this is ridiculous. We don't have eggs. All right. So inflation has been an issue, and if you look at some of the numbers, which I know you're numbers people, so you sometimes, so specifically, this was only to November, and in November, the numbers came out for eggs, which was 49%. But here's the fun one,
Yeah.
65.7% for fuel oil.
Lovely.
Now, here's the dirty little secret on why you're members and why some of you are suffering more than what the inflation numbers tell you. Inflation only measures year by year. So the fact that everything increased by a lot into last year, so now we come back again, if it's less of a change. So now the price of eggs, let's say it's $6, now it's up to $6.50. Well, that's not that big a change. It's a percentage change. It's not that big. Inflation only goes back a year. So they're kind of sliding in these prices are kind of staying permanent. And that's what people are not seeing. So your people are hurting a little bit more. A majority of people, 63% up from 2 years ago, 49%, are living paycheck to paycheck. Now I got to tell you folks, before about a year ago, I was mostly worried about the people making from about $30,000 to $70,000. And here's why. Under $30,000, really under $50,000, there's a negative income tax of the 48% of people who make under $50,000 in the United States. So think about that. 48% of all Americans make under $50,000 a year, okay, for a household. So I was worried about those people who are individually making between $30,000 and $70,000. The median household income right now in America is about $71,000. And I was worried about the people individually making between 30 and 70, because those are the people I was worried about living paycheck to paycheck. Underneath that, you get so many entitlements from the government that actually boost you into the $50,000 or $60,000 range. Statistically, I know some people don't take all the things, but that's a whole nother thing. Now, and that's who the predominant people were, living paycheck to paycheck. And now the scary thing is it's higher. It's now the $30,000 to $150,000 range of people who are living paycheck to paycheck. And people say, but Mary, how can somebody making $150,000 live paycheck to paycheck? And my answer is, it's easy. You have a house payment that was based on the fact that 28% of your income would go to your mortgage and your house things. And you had 2 car payments, and now you got a kid in college. And all of a sudden, then the government increases taxes on you. You're not expecting that extra 5 or 7% that's gone. Vermont increases state tax, property taxes. And all of a sudden, you're suddenly looking at the month going, I don't have enough paycheck to cover the rest of the month. And this is real. So a lot of your people are hurting more than it appears. And we know this because payments on homes have, and I don't know what you're seeing here, but payments on homes have not been defaulting much, but car payments are late. Are y'all seeing late car payments? There's more defaults on car payments, more delinquencies. Is that right? Is that right? Okay. You're going to see more of that this year. Do your best to try to work with them. I'm just giving you random economic advice, because in a year, hopefully things will be better. But people who are 6 months behind, yeah, it's never going to get better. On average, Americans spend about $1,500 a month on non-essentials. That number has not changed. By non-essentials, I mean food and fuel and housing and heat. A lot of people have decided, especially in places like Vermont, you know what's cheaper than heat? Wool. And they have lowered their thermostats. I don't like to be cold. I'm like right there with you, Charleston. Like boom, I like warm stuff already. So our GDP, as I mentioned before, how many of you have ever had an economics class? Anybody? Yeah. Did you hate it? Did you hate it a lot? Yeah, you hated it. Yeah, you did, because it wasn't fun. And I had those same teachers, and they were horrible teachers. So very quickly, when you're looking at the state of the economy, and again, things that your people care about, I'd like to just mention our GDP. I'll also mention there's 2 ways to calculate our GDP. This is the expenditures approach. We add up everything we as a nation spend money on. I know I just ended that in a preposition. And this is our consumer expenditures plus our business investment plus our government expenditures plus our exports minus our imports. The expenditures approach. That's our GDP. Most nations use this method to calculate their GDP. There's another way where we add up all of our incomes. So add up all of your income, the rent that you would be making if you owned property. So it's so kind of like a reverse mortgage thing. All your interest payments, any other money you make. And but then the reason we don't use that is because people lie. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah, never mind. Okay. So we're about $25 trillion. We are the biggest economy in the world right now. Right now, India just overtook the UK in terms of economic dollars produced, and they just overtook China this morning officially for population. So at 1.43 billion people. So that's something to pay attention to. So again, we're getting to the leadership part. I just want to give you kind of a framework of why people are stressed out. And so credit cards are fun. So I have a fun game for you. I thought this would be fun. Maybe it's just for me. Which demographic group has the most credit card debt? The younger, so I'm going to ask you, and then I'm going to ask you to vote. The younger than 25. Apparently I don't care about 25 to 35-year-olds, so no, nobody cares. 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 to 64, 65 to 74, 75 or older. So we're just going to say everybody younger than 35 who thinks they have the most debt. Okay. What about 35 to 44? Well, you would think because you got kids and all the things. Yeah. 45 to 54. Okay. What about 55 to 64? You're like, no, they should be responsible by now. 65 to 74. Okay. Over 75. You're wrong.
Wow.
Because we don't care. We're going to die. So we don't care about our credit card debt. We're just going to spend. Let me show you. So if you have a credit card debt, grandma and grandpa are out there living it up. Except for not. What's happening is more people are putting essentials on their credit cards. Who's living on fixed income?
Yep.
And this is the problem. We're seeing more people buy groceries and fuel and put their utilities on credit cards. That to me is a worry. Okay. So this is why I show this to you, because sometimes what you see when they come in here is not what's going on at home. And so I just want to make that clear. And then credit card debt since 2003, we saw a spike. We're heading for a bit of an uptick, and that's a concern. This came out again this morning. Credit Karma came out with a full report this morning with some fairly concerning numbers. They also came out with a retirement report, Bob, that you might be interested in. It's from Credit Karma. 27% of all Americans have zero in any retirement account. For boomers, we're the boomers. Boomers in the room, woo, woo, woo. Okay, so let me just ask you boomer people. Boomers, self-identified boomers, I'm getting to the rest of you. How much do you think the average boomer thinks they need to retire? You online people, I want you to play. How much does the average boomer think they need to retire?
Million.
That's a great guess. The average came out to be $1.1 million. Well, okay. How old do you think you are when you retire? So, wait, let me make that more specific. How old is the average American when they actually retire? 72, 60, 70. The average boomer says they're going to work till they're 70. The average millennial, by the way, says they're going to work till they're 60 because they need math skills. I'm just saying, no, I'm not picking on the millennials, but I think they're hopeful that they're going to be better than their parents. Now, here's what's scary. Do I have a slide on this? No, I took it out. The average American today retires at age 61. They think, yes, they think they're going to work till they're 64 or 67, and then they can't, either because of their own health or the health of a family member, and they have to care for them. The average age. In 1991, the average age of retired Americans, 57 years old. Keep in mind, we're living longer, we're living healthier, and okay, so now where's my Gen Xers? Gen Xers, where are you? Oh, yes, my Gen Xers. There's 3 of us in the room. Yeah, 4 of us.
Some of us don't know what we are.
So if you're 65 to 80, you're an Xer. Born in 65 to 80, you're an Xer.
We got
Okay.
2 online.
And the reason you don't know is because nobody cares about us. Nobody cares. We're largely ignored, and we've been left alone so much that we've kind of decided we like it. And the fact that we have to come back and be around other people, we're like, we could do this alone just fine. We would be fine. We're okay. And we're a little angry, but we kind of like the anger now. Like we're just angry people. And it's interesting that when we get to retirement, how this shifts, okay? Also, the baby boomers, they think Social Security is going to take care of them in their later years. The funniest statistic I saw was the younger millennials think who don't have children, they think their children are going to care for them in retirement. Oh, I love that. Okay, so where are my millennials? Because I love you so much. Yes, you're a Zer.
I think I'm a Gen Z.
Okay, I'm going to say, okay, so my millennials and Gen Zers, I love you to pieces, and I think it's really important because people think millennials are children. They're not children, folks. They are in their 40s. They're taking over companies. They're taking over businesses. They're grown-ups. They have kids of their own. So they need to be pushed into these positions. The boomers who have stuck around way too long and have stayed in these jobs way too long, in some cases, are not making room for the next generation in some cases. So you can't be promoted, and you certainly can't retire if you haven't trained the next replacement for you. And that needs to happen. We know that boomers are turning 65 at the rate of about 10,000 a day, which means they should be thinking about retirement. You would think, or they've thought about it. Interestingly enough, during COVID, a lot of folks, I don't think I have a slide on this, a lot of folks retired in that 55 and older category. And then they got home and they're like, well, now what do we do? And there was a reason they went back to work. And the reason is, if you are a parent of a 19 to 30-year-old, there is a 58% chance that those children live with you. And then you look around your house and go, wow, work looks darn good from this perspective, and you go back to work. Now, the reason I mention this is because these are the things that you need to be concerned about, but also your people are concerned about. Some people have emergency savings, lots of people don't. So just for you, if you are not maxing out your retirement opportunities, I really need to encourage you to do that, especially if you're in your younger saving years. And if that ship has sailed as well, and you're in your older years, just put on credit cards because your kids can't inherit debt. So who cares? All right. So this is where we get into the leadership part. You're already an awesome leader. You wouldn't be in this room right now. You wouldn't be spending this time because I know, like the airlines, you have a choice as to how you spend your time, and you decide to spend it here this afternoon, or somebody told you had to. Either way, I'm very grateful. I don't mind. Now, how can we engage people better, and how can we engage our members better? I know it seems crazy, but your members want to hear from you. They want your certainty. They want your stability. They want your advice. So don't be afraid to have those conversations. And how do we incorporate our cultural values with our members? How do we inculcate that and work better together and create better? So some of you saw some of these slides last year. And this is how we get through crisis, challenges, and changes. We have to understand the stages people go through when they are experiencing a crisis, a challenge, or a change. So if the crisis is, I told some of you on January 12th of this year, my mom decided she was dying. Mom's 91. I come from an Irish Catholic family. My dad's from Brooklyn. Anybody the same, like Irish Catholic? Anybody? A little bit. Okay, right. So dad passed a couple of years ago. So mom's by herself. She had kind of a rough Christmas. She fell. So I was mostly in Dallas all through December. So she calls, and I'm in South Carolina. And so she says, I'm really, really dying this time. So I'm like, okay, mom. So I was on my way to Florida. I diverted into Dallas. My older brother, the Marine helicopter pilot, he drives into Dallas. He picks me up at the airport. We're heading to the hospital to see mom. And he's driving his wife's 2-seater Porsche with the top down. And he goes to make a left-hand turn in a truck, T-boned us on the passenger side. So I got the brunt of it on my side. So I've got really cool pictures, but I want to show that because some people don't like that. And you have children in your house, and that's not appropriate. But there's 5 ribs broken off on this side. I got a punctured lung. There's bones. By the way, there's no place for bones to go in your arm when they splinter like wood. I didn't know that, and it hurt. And anyway, so and the reason I mentioned this is because when that happened, that became a crisis, and that became my personal. So I'm like, and they had to pry me out in the jaws of life, which is very exciting. I've never had that happen before. Also, you don't need to rush into that new experience. And then they slap you on the board, which is that's not nearly as comfortable as it looks on TV. Just want to point that out. And then they're like, can we cut your clothes off you? So the reason I tell you this is they really do that. And I said, well, we could just roll up my sleeve. And they're like, no, we just cut the clothes off. I was like, then why bother to ask? I mean, you're very polite. Anyway, then they're injecting me with fentanyl, not the kind that comes over the border and kills people, but the good stuff. I'd never had that before. By the way, did you know it's very short-lived, the fentanyl? It doesn't last that long. That was disappointing. And so they're shooting me full of fentanyl, and the one ambulance guy goes, I'm gonna give her a half a thing, and then I turn into Tiny Tim. Oh, please, sir, may I have it all? Oh, please. Because it hurt a lot. And I wasn't crying because I couldn't cry because I had 5 ribs that were broken off and punctured lung. I didn't have the air capacity to cry. So I'm kind of proud of the fact that I got hit by a truck and didn't cry, but I really wasn't capable of that. Anyway, so I get put back together and mom didn't die. So crisis averted, everything. Yeah, all the crises averted. And now it's gonna be a good story because there's one with the screws and you can feel it. Like I'm show and tell today. And you can feel the screw that is coming out of my arm. So I think my next book is Hit by a Truck, Screw Loose, Nothing's Changed. I'm gonna work on this. But a crisis changes your whole world. And it changed mine for a few days. It did not take me off the road, which people say, well, you're gonna take some time off, right? I go, well, yeah, I'm taking time off to have this surgery, which hopefully is tomorrow. And I gotta get back to it. We got things to do. And they're like, well, most people would take like a month or 2 off. No, we got time for that. We don't have time for that. Because you're gonna have pain anyway, so why not just work? Like what? I mean, players play through the pain, but just work anyway. Not everybody feels that way. So I want you to think about a crisis that you've experienced or a challenge, or maybe just new software update that you did not like. Your first reaction is, oh no, we're having to do this. Oh no. And that's the rejection phase. And then you move very quickly into oops, there's a dog. Okay, hang on. Sorry, people. Oh, my clicker got excited. Then you move into the recognition stage, which is putting the Band-Aid on it. So in the very short term, my friends are like, Mary, what do you need? Well, in the smushing of the very tiny little vehicle by a truck, what didn't make it to the hospital was the charging cord for my phone. And I needed the charging cord for my phone. So I go, I need a long, Apple iPhone charging cord. And he goes, yeah, I got that. I was like, really, if it's not a problem? He goes, no, I think I got 10 in my car. My kid used to work for Apple. I was like, okay, perfect. In the short term, what are we doing to help people in that crisis? We're really good at this. So let's say you've got a personal, like one of your friends has a situation and you're like, okay, do you need me to go feed the dogs, pick up the cat, or get the kids from school, or bring dinner? In the short term, we're really good at bringing the casseroles. Like we're all about that. And during COVID, like COVID as a bad example, okay, we'll save money on commuting. We can work in sweatpants and yoga pants and short pants and no pants. That's how you. And then we thought, well, that's okay. I can work from home. I have to work from home, and maybe that was okay. But keep in mind, for some people, working from home is not great. Maybe working from home, there's not enough bandwidth. Maybe there's not enough physical space. For a lot of you, when you go, okay, family, I'm working from home, they're like, no, you're not. They don't think that when you're home, it's work time. So for a lot of people, it meant dad's home, woohoo! And then in some cases, there's like a tense or violent situation and not a lot of productivity happens. You have to remember, folks, for a lot of people, work is the best place they have. So working from home, not always great. And then some of you may have heard what I did. I'll have more time with family. Oh, that sounded so good in the beginning. And then you may have heard, baby, I love you, but how can I miss you if you never go away? And then we figured this out. We figured out how to do Zoom calls at the kitchen counter with the dog on our lap. And we figured out how to do 4th grade math while we were running back and forth with our own Zoom calls. Whoops, see, I just got excited. See, there's a cute child, okay. And then some of you did the right thing during COVID and you had babies. Who had a COVID baby? People, there is a war on talent. We cannot win this without a degree of participation from you. Just saying, people.
One of my staff had a COVID baby.
Okay, people, we're gonna work for time. India is doing their part. We apparently are not. All right, fine. And then we got the realization stage. And in any situation, all of a sudden you realize what has to happen next in order for the next thing to happen. And so with COVID, again, as an example, people go, oh, this isn't going away in a couple months. We're gonna live with this forever, kind of like all the other viruses we have. And what is that gonna look like? So for many of you, this meant, this is when your leadership kicked up. More, and more. More leadership contacts, more participation, more strategy, more thinking, more touch points, more specific emails, shorter emails, more often, checking on people more often, more leadership, more of the time. And this realization phase, and then we take this and we go, okay, we got this. we get calm, we get regrouped, and this pushes us into stage 4, which is the resolution stage. We got this. We're in this together. Let's support each other. Let's help each other. Now, here's the issue. A lot of people stay in these 4 stages, the first 4, kind of like an endless PowerPoint loop, the kind that you play for your customers, your members downstairs, you know, that PowerPoint loop. They just stay there. And it reinforces where they are because they can't get out of it in their head. Now, leaders like you very quickly moved into the new reality phase. This is situational awareness. All of a sudden you say, okay, what is the situation? So in my particular case, and some of you have faced this as well. Okay, my arm isn't working very well. Like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't lift more than a pound. The day they took off the cast, I'll show you pictures at happy hour. But the day they took off the cast, it's all the purple colors and all the things. It was quite pretty. And so my friends are going, how's your arm? So I took a picture of just looking awful. I go, well, here's today. And then at the bar that night, a lot of you know that, I like to drink and I like to drink wine because, it's a fun thing that I like to do. And when you can't work out, you don't work out, you just drink. It's great. And some of you don't drink at all. And I really admire you. So that night I'm at the bar and I was like, the bartender goes, can I get some? I go, I'm gonna need a 6-ounce pour because I wasn't sure I could lift it with my right arm. That's how bad the S was. So that night, so the bartender puts this thing down. I was like, okay. So I take my camera and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to do this. So with my right arm, I grabbed it and I was like, okay, 6-ounce pour is about a pound and I could lift it. I was like, woo! So I go, well, this was today, the big horrible mess. And then I go, but this was tonight. So good day for Mary. So this is my, what'd you say?
It's PT.
It's PT, that's exactly right. Couldn't lift a pound with my right arm for 2 months. So this was my new reality. Okay, so some details are gonna change. So what does that look like? And so it's all about, you can't be going, and my older brother, by the way, felt horrible. I was like, dude, it was an accident. These things happen. Both drivers were deemed at fault. And so I'm like, okay, so what? And he goes, no, this is really bad. I go, no, it's not. This is just hardware. To me, this is a Home Depot problem. This is just hardware. This isn't a diagnosis. This is just, there's a metal plate, there's a bunch of screws. I'm gonna get patched up. In a year or 2, I'll be better or not. But if either way I'm alive, we're good. Like, to me, that was my new reality. And it's not because I tend to have a really good attitude on things or anything better than other people. I just tend to get into this stage fast. Some of it's military training. Some of it is that situational awareness. All right. And Marines have colorful language around some of these situations. Okay, so then in the realignment phase, it's what can I do to support my people? And how do I work cooperatively with other people, even if they are my competition for that next job, for that whatever? What does that look like? And where can I improve my processes? One of my credit union leaders said, oh, Mary, I just can't wait till we get back to 2019. I said, please tell me you're kidding. Nobody wants to go backwards. We want to go forwards. Why? In the words of Churchill, would we let a good crisis go to waste? That's just crazy. And what do we need to do differently moving forward? And how does this change our leadership? And how do we help our organization push forward in the right way? And the right way is key. And then how do we equip our team to manage change? Okay, so you people online, this is where I need you. Wait, here's my hello. and then I spoke louder, like that matters. Okay.
They can see you bigger.
Yeah, and they're like, oh dear Jesus. That wasn't exciting for anybody. So here's what we're gonna do. So you people online, I want you to type in the chat words that describe people who do not like change. This is all you people online. If you don't do anything, there's gonna be awkward silences. I'm just pointing this out, awkward silences.
And I'll call you by name.
Words
I
that
can
describe
see
people who
you.
do not like change.
Frustrated.
Mhm. Come
Keep
on.
them coming. Come on, it's one word.
I got one word here, people. You can do better than that.
Stagnant,
Stagnant, very nice.
angry,
Angry.
scared,
Oh, what?
scared, mad,
Scared, mad, good.
difficult,
Difficult, very nice.
loser. No, they didn't say that. I said
I'm
it.
good with that. People who don't.
Frozen.
Frozen, very nice. And not frozen like the musical.
No.
Mm.
Come on, there's more. Stuck.
Stuck, very good. Okay, team, what other words did they miss? Help them out. Throw some words out.
Curmudgeon.
Curmudgeon. Sometimes people go old, and I go, you could add fashioned or schooled to that word.
I was gonna say.
Hesitant, left behind.
Hesitant, left behind, very good. Stubborn, very
Stubborn.
nice. Good. What?
Needing support.
Needing, you're a nice person, aren't you?
Aw.
Oh, you're
Sometimes
sweet.
negative. Sometimes somebody, it could be situational.
Combative.
Yes, combative. Oh, people online are some angry Gen Xers.
That's right.
Angry
Wasn't
people.
Gen Xers.
Lots of them. Okay, good.
Mary,
Okay.
Is this like similar to the change cycle kind of thing?
It's very, so there's a J curve of change. In the J curve of change, what happens is you announce a change and then things immediately get worse. And they get worse because people push back. So let's just think about a change. People's natural reaction, we're gonna have a new software system. People go, oh no. And then you go, that's okay, we're gonna train you. And you think that makes it better for your people. No, it doesn't. Now they're like, but I don't want you to learn the new system. I didn't learn the last one and nobody's noticed. So I'm not sure I need to learn this new one. This is, by the way, especially true in accounting departments. Just saying. Just saying. So then they go, well, oh no. And then they're like, well, okay, so people's natural reactions, I'm not gonna do it. They push back. And here's what goes through people's head. And this is the J curve of change. So you announce a change and things get worse. Whose stupid idea was this? Who decided this is a good way to spend our time and money and resources? We have idiots running this organization. This is a terrible, terrible idea. Nobody, and then they get through all that because people don't want to change, and here's why. The habenula is that part of our brain that says, see, change is bad. The reason you're alive today is because of all the things you've done up till now. See, that's kept you alive. See, you're alive. Hello, proof positive. And the habenula goes, so don't change. But then the great thing about our habenula is once you make the decision to make a change, the habenula goes, oh, okay. And it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. But you have to tell your brain we're really going to do this. And even if you don't like it initially, and this is why the J curve goes like this, in the exploration phase, which is stage 3 of a J curve of change, people go, okay, well, if I have to learn the new system, how do I schedule it? Fine, I'll do this. They start to explore what that change would mean for them. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, this is better for our members. This is better for the team. This is more efficient. And then you get the commitment phase. But in any change, there's almost always that. Think about getting a new phone, having to replace your phone. Has anybody ever delayed getting a new phone because you just didn't want to go through all the hassle again and you thought it was going to take 4 hours? And you'd be right. But then all of a sudden you get the new one and you go, okay, well, this is better, but it did take me 3 tries, 4 strips of T-Mobile and all the things, which just happened. So folks, that's natural. It's really, really natural. And so what we have to do then is, okay, online people, you're back up again, and then we're going to take a break, I promise. Give me words that describe people who do like change. Words that describe people who do like change.
Crazy. No, I'm just
Crazy.
kidding.
I like
I
crazy.
threw that out there.
I'm all
I'm
over
waiting
crazy.
for them. Visionary,
Visionary.
excited,
Uh-huh.
flexible,
Mhm.
optimistic.
Yes.
Strategic.
Strategic. Oh, the team's helping you, online people. Give me some more. Innovative. Receptive. What?
Receptive.
Entrepreneurial. Good. What? Back to you. Come on, online people. Waiting for you.
I love change. Adaptable,
Okay, adaptable. Yay, team.
positive,
Positive.
adventurous.
Adventurous. Very nice. So then the question is, how do we rip off that Band-Aid? How do we help people accelerate the J curve of change and get through that negative stuff faster? And what we do is we address that. You have to pop all those blisters. You have to go, okay, look, for a lot of you, I know that you didn't think we need a new software system. And let me tell you why we had to do this. And let me tell you why this is going to be better for our members. Let me tell you, give people the whys, and that helps them get over that. Well, this is a stupid idea. And what you also say is we carefully shopped around to make sure that we got a really good deal on this, because frankly, we want to make your lives better, not worse. And if we had extra money, frankly, we wanted to give it back to you instead of investing it in something that just made people's lives more miserable. But this absolutely had to happen. Here's my example on this. Southwest Airlines. Poor Southwest Airlines. Yesterday, the FAA found a little problem with one of their computer systems again, and it meant 2,300 flights were delayed, which is 55% of all the Southwest flights that happened in the United States yesterday. Keep in mind the little kerfuffle that happened in December. Isn't it a kerfuffle? That wiped out all of their profits for the year because they did not upgrade their computer system. Okay. So that's my bad example. I like Southwest Airlines. I think they're a good airline mostly, but they've made some very poor leadership decisions. And I know exactly how this happened. Somebody said, we really need to do this. And I'm like, no, we really would rather pay our people more. And we want to keep our fares low. We want to keep people happy. No, we can just delay it and delay it and delay it and delay it and delay it. Kind of like some of our bridges and roads in the United States. We're just delaying. You see yesterday in New York, a parking garage structure. What? And it killed somebody? Everybody's like, well, one person killed. I'm like, no, that's really bad. Again, delays of hard decisions is something that poor leaders do. great leaders step up and they make tough decisions. So let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to come back at a quarter after. I know I dipped you out of 2 minutes, so use the potties fast. Okay, be right back. You online people, come back to me. And if you have to pour a drink, think of me. Okay. Good, good, good. Yay. Okay. Probably for them. So let's just say, for example, you're going to roll out like a new mortgage program. Let's just say. And here's why. Because people are shopping for mortgages at home. They're shopping for mortgages at night. And I had one person say, but people can just come in. I go, nobody's come to that. Nobody's coming in to say, I'm thinking about buying another property. I'm thinking about a rental property. I'm thinking about building a mobile home trailer park. Nobody's doing that when they walk in to your credit union. They're doing this at home and they're researching options. And we've got to make sure we've got the options available for people to make good decisions. And then we need somebody to talk them through this. And so if our people don't understand the whys behind this, I was working with a skin care company. And I told the guy, I said, we've got to change your distribution because right now you're just distributing through high-end spas. I said, and I got news for you. A lot of my friends don't visit high-end spas on a regular